my gosh, this is so incredible, so overwhelming, wonderful. Dawn, thank you so, so much for putting together this event. Thank you, Dawn, for inviting 3 of my closest friends whom I love, admire, and who inspire me every day. I'm truly honored, and I hope you'll all give me copies of what you wrote. It was just really so incredible. Thank you so much for everything that you did, and thank you, Eve. Thank you, the Cliff Dwellers. Thank you, President of the Cliff Dwellers. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here. So I'm now going to read some of my work, and it really is an amazing experience to hear other people read your work. So thank you for that. I'd like to begin with a poem from Blood Wolf Moon, which I see as a language origin story. It imagines my mother as a child hearing the Osage language for the first time. Her father, Alex Tall Chief, conditioned by Indian boarding school, spoke only English, even though his mother, Eliza Big Heart Tall Chief, conversed in Osage. The Osage language in this poem is written in Osage orthography, and the poem's note at the back of the book reads, Wajaje, name of the Osage tribe who came from the stars, Francis LaFlèche. And I'll be reading some words in Osage. So those words are right next to the English words, so I think you should understand what they are. Wajaje, Osage. The first language, Wajaje, which Eliza, her grandmother, spoke, I try to learn the words Iye from a book, a dictionary. What was my mother taught as a young girl sitting on the front stoop of her grandma's house, inhabited by half-brothers she revered? Her favorite hunky, hand outstretched, showed her how to catch the wild horse unbridled in the pasture. She knotted a paisley bandana around her neck. This language for throat, dotse, and tongue, these, words she learns to speak but then forgets. She loosens the rope from the horse's crest. So as many of you know, a line from my poem Wigia was used as the title for David Grann's book and Martin Scorsese's movie Killers of the Flower Moon. The line in the poem reads, during Zaga Ziga Setha, the killer of the flowers moon. After attending the Osage Nation premiere of Killers of the Flower Moon, I had a chance to spend some time with Lily Gladstone. Lily portrays Molly Burkhart, whose family was murdered during the Reign of Terror, 1921 through 1926, a tragic period of American history when outsiders killed the Osage for their oil head rights. My own Tall Chief family lived in Fairfax, Oklahoma during this time. After Killers of the Flower Moon. Lily Gladstone confides, she wore my great-grandmother Eliza's blankets in 3 scenes. I don't remember my great-grandmother, though in a photo, age 90, she holds me in her arms. The actress plays Molly Burkhart, who lived down the street from Eliza in Fairfax. Hands out wide, Lily says Eliza had a broad wingspan. She pleated the wool broadcloth several times. Through an open window, wings outstretched, an eagle owl looms toward Molly's mother, dying from poison. My mother told me that owls in trees wailed the windswept night before her father died. Wrapping my great-grandmother's striped blanket around her shoulders, Molly asks her husband during a downpour not to close the window. Be still, she says, and listen to the rain. Eliza's blankets fold and unfold stories. Into every pattern I fly back home. The Osage replaced hide robes with Dutch-traded blankets in the mid-19th century. I stop breathing during the night of film when a murderer calls Osage women blankets. While her husband injects Molly with arsenic, each sister is shot, poisoned, or bombed to death. A woman in a voiceover foreshadows, "This blanket is a target on our backs." In the quiet, after Molly's obituary is reported, I only hear rain. Outside the theater, silent thunderbirds overhead spread dark, cloud-spattered wings, outlining circles across a broadcloth. Inside each target, a hole in the sky. So Blood Wolf Moon opens with a long poem called Heritage, which consists of a bracelet of poems where the last line of the first poem becomes the first line of the next. So I'll read several sections from Heritage, and you'll see how this works. I'm going to start with Heritage 3. I was born in the month of the blood wolf moon. My mother said icicles shook the trees as she and my father traipsed along the black sheet sidewalk to their convertible. Her timed contractions stretched out hours long until almost midnight. After how many miscarriages? Hospital bedside, my aunt and uncle smiled over the crib. Or was that just a photograph? Tell me about departure. Tell me how often she left the newborn, jetted away on Pan Am, tied up the ribbons of her satin toe shoes. I am not one to antagonize her. I bow low to her voice, she who crossed the Iron Curtain, searching for the baby photos inside stamped envelopes, memories slate of hand. I don't remember how she vanished or when, tiptoeing into the cape of night, wrapped in ermine, in mink, flabbergasting audiences with every pirouette, frozen, perfect, the star blazing on stage. 4. The star blazing on the stage of the firmament, the brightest of stars, Sirius, the dog star, flashy shiner in the constellation, Canis Major, named the trickster by the Pawnee, or the coyote star. The Osage said, the wolf that hangs by the side of heaven's star, alone, compact, content to howl louder than any other. One night, I heard the wolves inside their makeshift enclosure, yowling back to the sirens. Our 2 dogs strained on the leash, the caterwauling of wolves carried by wind across blocks of tree-thick streets, the rough blasts in this city, the maelstroms on that lupin island when I couldn't hear my voice shout, warning our children. From Pawhuska to Fairfax, driving in Oklahoma, how brash the wind. I'm going to skip now to number 9. For the sake of a dime, oblivious owners invented names for teams, Braves, Chiefs, Redskins. Football zealots, my parents rooted for the Bears. Last night, someone holding a glass of Sancerre at a posh French restaurant said, "Why should they care about the name Redskins? Why make such a fuss?" My blonde hair fooled her. Our host whispered, her family is Osage. After we pushed back chairs during goodbyes, she apologized. When my mother, Maria Tallchief, danced the Muse Terpsichore in Apollo on the stage of the Paris Opera House, the audience embraced her, shouting, "Encore, encore." The headlines of 47 read, "Peau rouge danse à l'opéra." Peau rouge, red skin, a phrase she learned to ignore. Reading my friend's manuscript, I'm stunned to discover the origin of redskins, the bodies of natives brought in for bounty. During my youth, every Sunday in the fall, my parents bicycled along Lake Michigan to cheer their home team playing in Soldier Field, a stadium named as a memorial to those who died in combat, constructed the year my mother was born. Number 10. The year my mother was born in Fairfax, Oklahoma, white men were marrying Osage women and killing them for their head rights. My mother was born a year after the Indian Citizenship Act was passed, Indians tied to the US for or against their wills. 3 years before her birth, her half-sister, baby Ruth's grave was dynamited with nitroglycerin by outlaws scavenging for diamonds and gold buried inside the casket. In the Tallchief plot, I wander through family history, the marble monuments, angelic statues, measuring each step on grass, memorizing photographs. This one of a striking beauty, my great-grandmother, Eliza Big Heart Tallchief, surviving her husband by 50 years, the widow, the adored grandmother of my mother, Eliza. Only now do I see my name, a permutation of hers. At home in Chicago, every day I pass family photographs framed on walls, my great-grandfather's oval sepia portrait of his boyish face replicated on the headstone. Instead of the young bride, here is Eliza, a tribal elder wrapped in a multicolored blanket, standing outside her front porch, a photo taken after all those years she outlived him. So the book is modeled after 5 acts of a play, and I'll conclude with several short poems, 3 poems to exactly, from the last section, part 5. And as you could hear from one of Rachel's poems, their poems of flight are interspersed throughout the book. So this poem takes place probably January, February, so it still feels like that right now, but hi, Amy, I didn't know you were here. Oh my goodness, how wonderful to see you. Divination. Snowbound, a round of robins huddle on high. Ruby red baubles, they garland icy branches of the oak, hiding song inside. I forecast birth, a steady melt when nests empty for months beneath rain pipes, shingles, will be feathered, twined. Those clutches of 3, their own trinity, after the tug of worms from mud, beneath the puff of wing, minuscule eggs, bluer than rapture. This is one of the poems that has been handed back and forth with Thea and Rachel, so thank you both. So, even little tiny short poems, I will revise and revise and revise again. Okay, I'm ending with 2 poems that are inspired by the Osage Dictionary. Osage Dictionary has, I've written poems from the Osage Dictionary for many, many years, and this poem ends with 3 of them. I'll read 2 of them to you tonight. So they're written in 3 columns. The first is in Osage orthography, as well as a column of phonetic spelling in Osage, and finally the one in English. And I'll just read the one in English. Stationary. Sign with a thumbprint, deep in this earth. The throat, like a waterfall, rumbles. A sycamore's shadow swallows the swan. We thunder while our teeth talk. Take off a garment. At sundown, leaf-like layers stipple the flooding water. The last poem, Typewriter. Typewriter. I zigzag into the world, a woman, a wolf, within my heart, an untamed horse. What do you call it? The wind. Which pathway to that star, or the orbit of a star? Vapor rises off standing water. Upstairs, tell untruths, that of a tongue. Time is just the ticking noise against metal. Thank you so much.